Welcome. This is the real road to the unwritten rational rote rotation, and we'll begin with balancing. We will need a block towards the end and a full space to lie down. I'll start on the left foot. You'll find this video more commonly known as rote rotation. Left foot's perfectly in line with the length of the mat. Let's cross right over left. And we're just going to warm the foot and hip up just a little bit. If balance is always an issue for you, you can just come by a wall, put a finger on the wall. I'd like you to be able to stay on this foot for the duration. It'll be 90 to 120 seconds, something like that. And we'll try to wake up the twitchiness of this foot. How twitchy, how nervous, and how much of the movement, the overall movement of the entire body can just be focused. Now we get curious, how tall can you be? So a little bit comes from the hip, but the rest comes from the spine. How much can you push the top of your head away from the bottom of your foot? Huge inhales. I like to cross the free leg on top just so I don't have this wobbly leg helping me. It is much easier to flail your arms and leg about, but we're trying to create a new mechanic in balance. There's two mechanics. The first mechanic uses the entire body. The second, we focus on the foundation, the footprint. And so I'm exaggerating the twitchiness of my foot so you can see, but you'll notice it allows me to keep my upper body really quite still. Let's see if we can pick up the toes on the left foot. Makes life a little bit more interesting. Since you have your toes up, you might as well spread your toes. And we'll take 2 more breaths here. Head's really reaching up. How tall can you be? Woo, woo, woo. And we shake that out. Awesome. Yes, a minute to 2 minutes, something like that. I found that 2 minutes on the foot really made a huge difference there in the beginning when I was learning how to do all this stuff. I had the worst balance of every person, of every class I taught for many, many years. And putting a finger on the wall, staying on each foot for 2 minutes every single day was the breakthrough, especially for the bad foot, which for most of us is this side. So the right foot is perfectly in line. Head pushes up, chest arches up. I got a finger, boop, on the wall if I need it. I am consciously making that foot twitch, overly twitchy, making it sort of the foot equivalent. If you've ever tried to balance a stick on your hand, how reactive it would have to be, how quick and small the movements need to be to keep the stick from falling. Well, you're a big old stick. You're a squishy and flexible stick, but we're trying to use that same mechanic nonetheless. Every inhale. Trying to open something up. The chest opens up. The ribs expand. I'm trying to get oxygen levels up in the blood. Use that work in the hip and in the spine to get yourself a little bit taller. Go ahead and pick the toes up on that right foot. Woo. With the toes up, can you spread the toes? Normally you need to make a face of some kind. Normally, if you spread your hands really wide and then spread your face really wide, jazz hands, jazz face, it'll help you get your toes a little bit spreader, a little bit higher. Let's take 2 more deep inhales. The chest is up, the head is up, body's nice, and upper body's trying to be relaxed as this right foot, right hip catches on fire. Awesome. Whew. Awesome. So if you're on a mat, let's take the feet wider than the mat. If your feet ever feel slippery on the floor, you can do everything we do wider than the mat, just turn sideways. It does reorient you to the screen, and I apologize for that. But we really want to get strong enough to be able to put our bare feet on any surface and not have them slip. So be mindful of your moisturization schedule. I'm going to tick-tock the hips left and right. A couple little things to warm up. The hips, this is a rotation class. We're mostly focusing on rotation of the hips. We'll do some stuff for the arms and shoulders. I'm going to use the same idea. And again, you'll be, try not to mirror me. Rather, you're going to be seeing exactly what I want you to do, but in reverse. I'm going to take my left hand on the left hip. As my hip shift over to the right, my left hand will push this left hip down. I lean the upper body over to the left. So now I've created this length on the right side of the waist. And my left arm is a bracket. I'm really firmly pushing down into that hip. If that's going well, you can take this left arm overhead. I stretch. There we go. So if you're looking at me now, facing the screen, it looks just like this. Now you can mirror me. Really supporting through that left hand. But now let's make this a little more interesting. I'm going to take this right hand, catch underneath your head, and just let the weight of the head sort of hang off the hand, off the arm. What's it like to try to get the space between the ribs to open up? I'm going to keep the head way over to the left as I now reach my right hand to the floor. Right hand reaches to the right heel. I feel the weight of the head hang. And now we see if we can get these inhales. As I'm stretching the right side of the neck. Your head is heavy, so let the weight of it do the work. But do, however, fight to get this right shoulder blade even further down and away from the ear. One more deep inhale. And then this hand reaches, oh boy, towards the floor. We tick-tock the head. Second side. So now the right hand comes on the right hip. I'm going to push this hip down. Upper body falls over to the right, really supporting through this right hand. So now I'm looking for stretching and lengthening on this left side. Left arm comes up and overhead. Oh boy. See if you can not slouch or twist towards the floor. The game I like to play is I imagine I'm in a very narrow hallway. There's a wall right in my face. I can't do anything but lean over. Huge inhales. I'm going to reach under the head. I catch this head on the right side of the neck, so I'm letting the weight of the head now stretch my left side a little bit more. And now let the weight of the head hang. I reach this left hand to the floor. Ooh. How far away from this left ear can I reach the left fingertips? So the weight of the head is hanging to the right. I'm feeling all this stretching across the left side of the waist, left side of the neck. One more deep inhale. And you imagine somebody caught you by the arm, the body floats up. Whoa, boy. You do a little tick-tock. Awesome. So let's bring those feet in. Our normal golfer stretch, we're going to change just a little bit. You turn your feet now pigeon-toed. How tall can you be? I'm going to keep my legs perfectly straight, and with my feet just a little pigeon-toed, facing straight forward, can you pick your right foot up? And that's weird, because the moment you pick your right foot up, what wants to happen? The body wants to open to the right. So can you keep your pelvis square? And I can keep this right foot off the floor. Left leg is perfectly straight. Now I turn my body to the left, looking for this nice sensation in the left hip. Balance, of course, is an issue. Try not to put your toes down, because then you're just pushing with your right foot to help you rotate. I want to make that standing leg do all the work. Whee. There we go. And come back, shake that out. Turn the right foot in just a little bit. Doesn't have to be extreme. 45 is probably plenty. Standing leg is nice and straight, and just looking straight forward, everything stays quite square. You pick that left foot up. Body wants to open up to the left. This is neutral. See if you can keep that internally rotated. And then everything tries to rotate even more, even more to the right. Last deep inhale. Awesome. Now we're going to do some work on hands and knees. So you come down on the floor in the most graceful way possible. So then I get my shoulder blades down the back, arch the chest up. We'll just do a couple little things here. For me to pick my right leg up, I need to shift the hips over to the left, pick the whole right leg up. So the leg is heavy, and notice it gets lighter when I bend the knee. I don't want any cramping in your hamstrings, but I have my right leg up, right femur is more or less horizontal, and this is just a very simple rotational idea. I want to imagine somebody's holding onto my right knee, and I'm pivoting the right foot left and right. My right leg is a windshield wiper, pivoting around the axis of the right femur. Don't forget to inhale. It's a little weird. We'll do the second side. So I pick the whole left leg up first. Shoulder blades down, chest up, nice natural curve if you can. I bend the left knee, and then I'm not moving the whole leg. It's just the shin rotating along the center axis of the femur. Trying to keep this left knee more or less in the same position. How far to the left? How far to the right can I bring the foot? Good. Let's take the right foot straight out. So you notice it's going directly out from the right hip. Don't let it go back at all. If you're needing a little break on your hands, you're welcome to bring your elbows down. And this is a very simple idea. So wherever this foot lands, I come on the inside edge of the foot, and you don't get to slide it any further than 6 inches, just 6 inches. My right leg is nice and straight, and if you notice from the front, my left hip is now on the inside of my left knee. This is all you need to do, because how we make this more interesting isn't slide the right foot further. It's now tilt the pelvis forward, arch that chest up. You fight for a natural curve in lower back, and the moment you arch up, there's your inner thigh, which of course is what we're after. Trying to get a little decent stretch here in the right inner thigh. 3 more deep breaths. And then instead of trying to bring the foot in, instead think about your hips going to the left. Reach your hips and the foot will come in on its own. If this feels a little intense on the knees, you just pad the knees. It's not a big deal. I like to use a little towel. Left leg goes over to the left. I let the left foot slide just a little bit lefter. 6 inches is more than enough. I'm on the inside of that left foot. I'm trying to get my right femur just angled out a little bit. This is not extreme. Doesn't have to be extreme at all. Shoulder blades down the back. Let the spine drape, arch that chest up. Awesome. And from this position, we'll come into best yoga pose ever. Hips go over to the right. It pulls the foot in. Walk your feet back. Caterpillar. Onto the belly. So best yoga pose ever, simply defined as I set the head down. I stack it on the hands. Make sure that this is an inferior resting position for shoulders. And we'll talk about why in other videos. So I make sure the hands are stacked, head is on top. I like to turn the head just as a way to completely relax all the meat around the neck. But that means you probably have to turn your head pretty regularly. So now we work on our tic-tocs here. I bend the knees. I tic-toc the feet left and right. Whoa. And of course, if you've recently done a whole bunch of hard leg work, maybe you did first-degree leg burn or something harder, you may actually feel quadriceps massaging into the floor. Should feel quite nice. Let's drop the legs over to the right. I'm not
pushing my feet to the floor. I don't care how low they get at all, but what I'm interested in is as they drop over to one side, I feel the pelvis turn a little bit. I feel the feet come a little bit lower. I don't want to feel anything in the knees. I want everything to be in the hip joint. And most of the sensation is probably going to be in this right hip joint, in the leading leg hip joint. If it's too much on the knee, you just back off a little bit. I'm resting the weight of my left leg on top of the right, only because you see how low, close to the knee, it's catching me. Make sure you're not doing anything like this, where the entire weight of that left leg is resting. My left knee is on the floor. These are very small forces. You notice I'm always sort of exploring, playing around. And then we do the second side. The knees, the feet, I pivot on the knees, the feet drop over to the left. What sensations are there on the hips? If you feel some stuff in the back, that's great. Last breath. Now I'm going to keep the knees bent. Let's go ahead and come into reading pose. So I slide elbows directly under the shoulders. Shoulder blades articulate down the back, away from the ears. Top of the head's pushing up. I'm not crunching the back of the neck. Normally when you crunch the back of the neck, your face looks like that. So we relax the face, head pushes up. Shoulder blades down the back. Forearms parallelish, it's not so important. And now push your feet in their opposite directions, in their respective directions. So feet push apart. This is internal rotation of the hips. Whoa. We won't be here for particularly long. Just feel all this stuff in your lower back, in the hips. Last breath. Awesome. Now we're going to roll onto our right side just long enough to come into our twist. So again, you won't be mirroring me on this. I roll onto the right side, so I wind up with my right hip on the floor, right elbow under the shoulder. We'll go right into favorite twist from sitting. So I keep my right hip on the floor and I slide my right knee forward relative to my nose. The left foot slides back, and I wind up now with both feet on the floor, both knees on the floor. Then we'll turn to the floor, see if we can bring both elbows under the shoulders, just like we would be in reading pose. Get those shoulder blades down the back, push the chest up, open up the front of the body. Awesome. Now for the fun part. And because I have both knees down and both feet down, I'm going to see if I can push my knees into the floor. This is both knees. Pick my right foot up, put it down, and then pick my left foot up, put it down. I'm not trying to straighten or bend them anymore, just the amount of bent they are. I'm trying to pivot on the knees. Can I pick my feet up through rotation of the hip joints? There should be all kinds of really weird sensations now in your hips. Good. Slide the hands under the shoulders. Arch that chest out. So you open the front of the body. See how deeply we can inhale. We'll just do a little pigeon. This right hip is still on the floor, so my left hand catches this right knee. I slide the knee forward. You can slide the foot forward also, if you like. Hands under the shoulders, get the chest out. That's all we'll do with this guy. Now we'll do a flop exit out of this one. And to get a good flop exit, a proper flop exit out of this, I slide the foot in, I get this right knee out of the way, and I take the right shoulder on the floor. Don't let your elbow touch the floor. It's the shoulder that touches. And we wind up on our back.
take a few moments, square yourself up. And we take some inhales. And what did you just do to yourself? Can you feel that the right and left hip are different? We just have a few more poses. Let's do the second side. So I'm going to roll onto my left side. Slide the elbow under the shoulder. And we'll just be here long enough to get this bottom knee forward, top foot back. And what's different from favorite twist from pigeon is that the femur, if I looked at you from above, the femur is perpendicular from the spine, so that when I turn, my femur is not underneath me. Pigeon, I'm trying to get the leg underneath me. Here, I actually want this leg way off to the side. Breathe. So get the shoulder blades down the back, arch the chest. See what it's like to breathe. Now, this is the bad side for most of us. It's the twist is stucker. It's a little bit harder to breathe. And so getting this rotation in the hip joint might be extra fun. So see if you can pick your left foot out and then pick your right foot out. These are rotations at the hip joint. My knees stay down. Push your knees into the floor as you pick the feet up. Don't let the knees lift up. For some of you, this will make absolutely no sense. Slide the hands under the shoulders. Get the shoulder blades down. I scoop that chest up. I'm still rotating. I'm still trying to turn away from the legs. There's a rotation to the left. Every inhale, I try to expand the ribs. Exhale like a sigh. We let that go. I catch this left knee just for a few breaths. You come into pigeon. Now the femur is underneath me. Maybe you can slide this left foot forward. Arch that chest up. Now you notice with pigeon, I haven't given you any instruction on this back leg. And videos where we focus on front splits, we absolutely will. Here we're just focusing on the rotation of this front leg. 2 more breaths. Awesome. Swing this back leg around to the front this time for side splits. Now, it may actually be better for you to do your entire side splits with the back up against the wall. I love back up against the wall, so do that if you like. And you would scoot your tailbone all the way back. I'm going to instruct with the hands behind the back. It's a little inferior, but it'll help us sort of get this movement. And if I can, it'll allow some of you to lean back a little bit. And as you lean back, you'll actually be able to arch the chest up and create this nice natural curve. So I'm pushing the chest up, I'm lengthening the front of the body. I may actually be able to keep this length. Notice it's like I'm trying to untuck my own shirt with the arch. When you arch up, there is a little bit of a reflex to throw the head back. Keep the head vertical. So reach the chest to the chin. Get those ribs to expand. Let's turn the quads on. Boop. Let's push the feet out. Let's roll the thighs in and out. It's like you're trying to touch your big toe to the floor and try to touch your pinky toe to the floor. Keep that chest up. Big toe. My feet are moving, but it's a hip rotation. Awesome. I'm going to catch the knees, pull the feet in, with the knees nice and wide. And this is the foot position you're going to be in for your back bend. Now you'll need to scooch away from the wall again. I'll want to also be able to straighten my legs after I'm done with the back bend. This is a simple back bend over the block, nothing fancy. I'll have the block a hang tens distance away from the tailbone. So if I touch my tailbone with the thumbs, and then I push the block back with my pinkies, that's about the right distance, and it's totally tubular. So nice deep breath. See if you can keep the block from squirreling away from you as you now begin to lie back. If your head does not come down on the other side, this is where the second block or a towel come in handy. You need to have your head down on something. I'd like to have your hips down on something. If you have to choose between hips and head, start with the hips and then elevate the head. If you get woozy or nauseated, if you find that the room is starting to spin, that's something you really need to take care of. You may be crunching the back of your neck, but if you can have the back of the head on the floor, not the top of the head, slide the head away from the block, let the weight of your legs drop to their respective sides. Notice I still have the soles of the feet together. And now can I relax? This is one of those poses, once this opens up, you don't have to do this particular pose every day, but for those of you that are really tight, your knees are super high, you could probably do this every day, like I used to do just before you go to sleep. I didn't sleep like this, but I would, as I would lie in bed going to sleep, I would sit like this, I would lie like this, to get my hours up. Let's bring the legs in. So now my feet are flat. I'm going to scooch my feet wider, maybe as wide as the mat. Maybe get your pinkies off the edge of the mat. With the feet nice and wide, took us on the floor. I'm going to tick-tock the knees left and right. And notice I'm not forcing my knees to the floor, and I'm not rolling completely off the block. So I'm letting the knees fall as low as they're going to be. This leading leg, it's pretty easy. It's the knee that's now falling to the inside. That's the one we get in trouble if I force it to the floor. Do not force either of the knees to the floor. Good. And just so we can remember how this feels, I pick the feet up. So now my hips are down. I feel this work on the front of the hips. This is spinal extension and hip flexion at the same time. This is the most important, fundamental, and most difficult to get mechanic for all the things that we're really trying to get in our yoga practice. Let's take one more breath here. We roll off to one side. Oh boy. I get rid of the block. Roll right back onto your back, thank goodness. Feet flat and wide again. And I take dog the knees and notice how much better this feels. So much better. Check out your inhales. Awesome. Now I'm going to continue this little tick-tock, but I'll pick my feet up. So now my knees are falling left and right. I'm letting the hips roll on the floor. Oh, maybe the knees almost touch. You can push your arms into the floor to assist. Every inhale, you try to open something up. Movements like this, you'll tend to hold your breath. Now let's drop the knees over to the left. My knees are all the way down, and there is a little bit of a tendency for the knees to sort of slide away. If I was looking at you from above, just like in our other twist, I want the femurs to be perpendicular to the spine. Nice right angle. So they're close enough that you could take your left hand on top. My right arm reaches back over to the right. Maybe the hand touches, maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't quite touch, all that means is you have a tight shoulder, your rotation isn't opened up yet. So don't force the hand to the floor, but rather just let the weight of it hang. You'll feel all this nice stretching across pecs, across deltoids, and biceps. Eventually the shoulder comes down, and then people love you more. Huge inhales into this whole right side. While we wait for this whole thing to settle down, I'm going to use my left hand, hold the left knee down, the bottom knee down, and then I take the right leg and I straighten it out. Watch out for end tables and stray cats as you now slowly take your right leg out. Oh man. Keep this left knee down, and can my right leg track perfectly along the side splits plane? So it's moving towards vertical. Maybe you can get your right leg to vertical, maybe not. Maybe it'll start to go past vertical. That's impressive. And then I bring it all the way down. Don't let your left knee follow you. If your left knee picks up, you're just going to feel undeservedly good about yourself. Enjoy how bad this is. You might explore getting a little bit further with every repetition. It really doesn't matter how far you go. I'm just interested in the work in this right hip. There should be all kinds of fun sensations there. Last one. Good. And I let both knees drop over to the right. Whoa. I like to roll, set with the right hand, and then twists. So I let the weight of this left arm pull me into my twist. You probably need to slide your knees up a little bit higher. That's okay. And due to the nature of the pelvis rolling on the floor, I'm not centered with the rug anymore. My spine is at a slight angle. I'm not slouching. I've let myself reorient so that I'll be centered when I come back. So breathing into this left side now, whichever side is on top is the one that gets most of the entertainment value. Gonna get the chest to open up, the ribs to open up. If I'm lucky, I'll feel the stretching on the outside of the left hip. One more deep inhale. And now I hold the right knee down, the bottom knee down. I straighten this top leg and slowly try to get the left leg up. Now, if it's too intense with the leg straight, you just do the whole process with the left knee bent. It's not a big deal. You're still going to get plenty of work. So the leg comes low, the leg comes high. Whoa. Every repetition, maybe you're going a little bit further. See if you can make an inhale last for a whole movement. All the way out. All the way down, still inhaling. Let's do 2 more. Awesome. And bring the knees up. We shake those legs out. We get to lie flat. And then I rotate the thighs in and out. See what's going on with the hips. From sciatica to labral issues to issues with the bursa. We typically treat our body more like a car where we take it for granted. We use it until the check engine light comes on. And then even then, many of you don't do anything about it. So you ignoring your body is the best thing I know how to maintain this dysfunction. My 1-step program for transforming your body is you got to pay attention. So even now, as you lie on the floor, scan your body, put your attention from the feet to the hands to the face. And you're welcome to lie here and enjoy these last few peaceful minutes without me yammering away. In either case, thank you for your commitment to your health. This is rational rote rotation. Self high fives. Other people high fives. Have an awesome week.